All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we look ahead to the Baltimore Ravens and what they did last week in Jacksonville against the Jaguars. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue you're going to find anywhere in Northern California. And this video is also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use the promo code KRUG, K-R-U-E-G, and they will match you up to your first $100. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Baltimore Ravens, who on Christmas night, we're going to get possibly a Super Bowl preview between maybe the best team in the AFC and the best team in the NFC. The Baltimore Ravens and the 49ers are going to battle at Levi's Stadium on Christmas night. And, man, I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it. The Ravens just beat the Jaguars 23-7 in Jacksonville last week. You know, Baltimore led in that game 10-0 at halftime. They were up 10-7 at the end of the third quarter. And then they put 13 points on the board in the fourth quarter and won by 16 going away. And, you know, Baltimore is playing good ball. They've won 4 in a row now. They've clinched a playoff berth. We saw Lamar hook up with Isaiah Likely, who's in there now with the injury at tight end. And Likely had a huge catch, and Gus Edwards scores 2 plays later. And the Ravens, you know, get the nice win on the road. Jacksonville, for them, they've now lost 3 in a row. Baltimore's playing great ball, though. They've won 8 of 9. And, you know, Trevor Lawrence did fumble twice. He fumbled in the fourth quarter, one of his 2 fumbles on the day. And so, I mean, obviously that didn't help. Baltimore also had some injuries in this game. They lost Keaton Mitchell, their young running back, the rookie out of East Carolina, to a left knee injury in the fourth quarter. He left on a cart. And, since the end of the game, we've discovered that Mitchell's going to be done for the year. So that's a rough break for the Ravens, who have already lost J.K. Dobbins, and they've already lost Mark Ingram, and they badly have lost, they've had some injuries at running back, and they'll have to go with Justice Hill, and it's like Gus Edwards probably the rest of the way. But Keaton Mitchell, I really thought was their best young running back. Really fast, really explosive, and he goes down in the fourth quarter with a left knee injury, and now his season is done. Also, Baltimore in this game lost their starting left tackle, Ronnie Stanley, to a concussion, so his status for this week is still yet to be determined. Baltimore also lost free safety Marcus Williams to a groin injury, and so, we don't know about what his status is this week. But Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson, and it seems like whatever they need from him, he does. He ran for 97 yards in this game against Jacksonville. I mean, Lamar is such a dangerous runner. He averaged over 8 yards per carry. It's you look at this game probably should have been a whole lot closer. Jacksonville had 181 total yards in the first half, but they got 0 points. They were being shut out at halftime. Why? Because Lawrence fumbled at the 18-yard line. Brandon McManus missed 2 field goals. Jacksonville could have been up 16-10 at the half. Instead, they were down 10-0. So they blew the clock at the end of the half. They had an opportunity to potentially get a field goal, and Lawrence, lost track of time, and they basically didn't get a chance at the field goal at the end of the first half. So, I mean, Trevor didn't play that well, but Baltimore's defense is also pretty good. Baltimore was +1 in turnovers. Justin Tucker, who's a great kicker, one of the best kickers in the history of the NFL, he had 3 field goals in this game for Baltimore. And, Baltimore, averaged 6 yards per carry. If you run for 6 yards a carry, you're going to be tough to stop. And that's what they did in this game against Jacksonville. They averaged 6.6 yards per carry, and that was a big part of why they won 23-7 on the road. 396 total yards for the Ravens. They outrushed Jacksonville in this game 251-75. So, I mean, this is the real scary part for the 49ers. Baltimore rolls in, they run the heck out of the ball. They just ran for 250. The 49ers just got gashed and missed all kinds of tackles, and Arizona ran it up and down the field on them. Dermercado and Connor and Kyler. And, the Niners could not stop the run last week. And now here comes the number one rushing attack in all of pro football, albeit without Keaton Mitchell. And we're going to find out if the Ravens can be a dominant team and run the ball right at the 49ers. The numbers say they can. But I think when you look closer at the 49er run D, I think it's a better run D than the stats show. I just think they're a little fatigued. Greenlaw's fatigued. Warner's fatigued. They felt when you're fatigued, you fall off tackles, and they fell off a bunch over the last 2 weeks. We also saw the Niners miss a ton of tackles in those 3 games leading into the bye week. So it's just something that we've seen already this year. It's like when they get worn down, they don't wrap up. When they don't wrap up, the other team gashes them in the run game, and that's exactly what happened this week for the 49ers. And if they can't stop the Ravens' really high-powered rushing attack in this game, it's going to be a very difficult game for the 49ers to win. Now, a couple other things about this Ravens team that I think are really interesting that I noticed in this game. Justin Matabuke, the big 310-pound defensive lineman in their 3-4, he had a half sack in this game. He's now had at least a half sack in 11 straight games. Matabuke also had 4 hits on the quarterback. So, I mean, stopping Justin Matabuke is going to be a major, major thing for the 49ers. The other thing is, can the Niners run the ball inside on this Raven front that has Travis Jones? Travis Jones played at Connecticut. He was about 340 pounds there. He's probably about 330 now. Michael Pierce, the nose guard for the Ravens, weighs in somewhere in the neighborhood of 355 to 360. So you got Pierce, who's 360. You got Travis Jones, who's about 330. You got Matabuke, who's a great pass rusher, and he's about 310 pounds. You also have Patrick Queen inside against the run. That they're not an easy team. Roquan Smith inside against the run. It's going to be very hard for the Niners to stop the Ravens' rushing attack. It's going to be very difficult for the 49ers to run the ball in this game. If the Niners can run the ball on Baltimore and stop Baltimore's running game, to me, this will be an example that the Niners are on the verge of winning their 6th Lombardi. And it may not be close, because this Baltimore team's very, very good, both running the ball and stopping the run. And if the Niners don't let them run it, and if the Niners can run it, especially if they run it between the tackles with any success, to me, that's going to bode very well for the Niners' chances of having success running the football in the playoffs. There's also one other guy that I think is kind of the wild card in this game coming up on Monday night. That's the Ravens safety, the all-world safety, Kyle Hamilton. Hamilton goes about 6'4", about 215 to 220 pounds. And he's got a thumb injury, but man, he's a hell of a player. He had 7 tackles in this game. He had a tackle for a loss, and I believe it was either a knee injury. I forget exactly what the injury was, but Hamilton is definitely dinged up. He's probably going to go, but he's going to be less than 100%. If Kyle Hamilton dominates this game, makes huge plays like he does on a regular basis, piles up double-digit tackles, and is really the premier safety that he is when he's healthy, man, it's going to be another tough it's going to be another tough matchup for the 49ers, and one that I don't think you can expect them to win. So, to me, that's a big one. Can they run the ball inside on Travis Jones and Michael Pierce and Justin Matabuke, Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen? Can they make plays against Kyle Hamilton, or does he dominate them? Can they stop Lamar running the football? Can they stop Lamar scrambling on third downs? And then Isaiah Likely is a very underrated tight end. Can they stop Likely in the red zone? If they can do all of these things, they got a chance to beat the Ravens and maybe beat them good on Christmas night. But just watching Ravens Jaguars and seeing what the Ravens are up close, man, their defense is top notch. Their interior offensive line is really good. They're just a really good football team. Lamar makes their run game that much more difficult to defend. And they've got some decent receivers. OBJ, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely. It's not a bad receiving core. So Lamar can beat you with his arm, but he can beat you with his legs. Even without Keaton Mitchell, I suspect they're going to be able to run the ball. They're really good at stopping the run between the tackles. And, it's going to be a very tough game. If the 49ers beat the Ravens by any margin, the rest of the league's going to go, what? Because that's how good the Ravens are. I think this could be the most physical game of the year, and I think it's going to be a huge challenge for the Niners to run the ball and stop the run. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Make sure you check that link in the description. Use the promo code KRUG, KRUEG, and they'll match you up to your first $100. And thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.